Hello, my name is Frank Ball. I'm a principal consultant here at Adcap Network Systems, and I'd like to welcome you back to our Journey to the Cloud video series. As discussed in our previous videos, I'll always be frank, there are three chasms that should be considered when building a strategy for optimizing your infrastructure and potentially implementing a private cloud architecture someday. In this discussion, we'd like to take a strong look at the data center optimization chasm and the 7 areas of savings that can provide a major benefit to your organization as we begin this journey. Just like you wouldn't begin a trip without planning, we think it's imperative that you do the same when looking at virtualization or private cloud architectures. Today we're going to lay out the milestones that should be touched along your journey. Now in the last video you may remember that I said the explanation of the three chasms may seem a little out of order. I didn't lie, it's true. Think about it like this. Most every journey has a reason or catalyst for starting on that journey. In this case, it could be the last two chasms, virtualization or private cloud architectures. There are endpoints in each of those chasms, but without all the prep work, you could get 2 days into a trek and realize you left some critical items behind that could hamper your journey. Now let's look at the 7 areas and define them a little bit. On a journey, one would consider food, mode of travel, lodging, even places to see and potential stops along the way. For your journey, there's 7 areas that should be addressed, and they all provide a level of savings unto themselves and big savings when you combine them all together. If the implementation of a private cloud architecture is your final destination, then missing one of the key areas could become an actual inhibitor for moving forward to a private cloud architecture. So digging into these 7 areas, the first one is applications. The core reason that any of your infrastructure really exists is for the delivery of applications. When virtualizing or implementing a private cloud architecture, there can be significant reductions in application licensing cost. Typical cost savings can range around 40% over the legacy usage methods that are out there today. The second area we want to look at is operating systems. Changes in Microsoft licensing can greatly reduce your operating system cost, and additionally, many organizations are looking to move from RISC-based systems to more commodity-based x86 server architectures. When you do this, it can greatly reduce systems and infrastructure cost, and we typically see a cost savings around 40% in this area. Now, remember that middle chasm, virtualization. When we look at the 7 areas of savings, the pivot point for us is really the hypervisor. This is the pivot point of savings that Gartner, Forrester, and IDC all talk about, and it's one of the compelling events that drove change. The analysts all tout 60 to 80% cost savings, but we think this can only be achieved through a holistic strategic approach when looking at private cloud architectures or virtualization strategies. Now, moving into platforms. Ah yes, the beloved server. Using legacy hardware can be the right choice in some environments, but major enhancements in server, blade, and unified and converged infrastructures have revolutionized platform utilization in virtual and cloud-based architectures. Typical standalone cost savings in this area are around 30%, but we can accelerate these with a clear strategy, especially if we look at a mix with blade architectures. Networking and security. The whole concept of converged infrastructure is a pure network play. Now let me explain this. Unification of fabrics, merging storage and data traffic on a single wire and connecting server to storage, has given us a wire once provision many type of architecture. It can also eliminate up to 80% of the internal network infrastructure on the data center floor and provide an instant savings of up to 25%. Moving into storage. So many advances in storage have happened over the last few years as our hunger for retention has been driven by compliance and legislation. Most organizations fail to turn on the robust features provided out of the box by the storage manufacturers that can provide and improve performance and reduce cost. Couple all this with a solid virtualization strategy as we look at moving towards a private cloud architecture, and the use of such things as golden images can greatly reduce the amount of storage required in your environment. Savings for storage can start in the 20% range and move as high as 50% when taking a holistic approach at the entire environment. The last piece of this is disaster recovery. Now, a lot of companies struggle with DR, but if you take a logical strategic approach to the first 6 areas we've already talked about, you could arrive at a critical applications to infrastructure mapping. And implementation of your DR strategy could almost become second nature. Think of license cost reduction as an example. When you're reusing your applications and your operating systems through the leverage of golden images on a unified or converged infrastructure, you minimize all that cost in DR because you're reusing assets that are inside of your environment already. Data center optimization. This whole chasm unto itself. It provides the pre-planning items that you should consider when moving forward on your journey. This chasm is critical to effectively move forward to virtualized or private cloud architectures. In our next set of videos, we will dissect each area of savings and talk in detail on how you can actually look at these areas to derive savings for your environment. I'm Frank Ball, and I'm excited to be your guide on this Journey to the Cloud series. Join us for our next video as we detail how taking a hard look at your applications can actually lay the foundation for your journey to the cloud and how the cost savings in this area affects the overall set of the chasms.